Bienvenidos. Welcomes. As you know, that's an example of how I'm going to be teaching Spanish, making it very literal. That's the way that I think, taking it word for word. Hopefully you'll enjoy it as well. The first thing we're going to learn in this lesson is how to ask someone where they are from. Very common question in Spanish. This phrase is de dónde eres. De dónde eres. There's a few things you'll notice. Once again, because it's a question, it begins with an upside down question mark and ends with a right side up one. Another thing you'll see is the accent over the O in dónde that lets you know to emphasize that part of the word, dónde. Another thing you might notice is that the R in Spanish doesn't really sound like a hard English R. It almost sounds a little bit more like a D, or sometimes like a TH, depends on where the Spanish is spoken. So instead of eres, which would be an American pronunciation, it's more like eres. So maybe like one roll of an R, if you know how to roll your R's is one way. Also think about D's and TH's, because that's where your tongue touches the top of your mouth. Practicing really makes perfect on this one. Now to literally translate this, the first word de means of or from. The second word dónde means where. And the last word means you are. Now there are a couple ways to say you are in Spanish, and we'll go into that more in another lesson. But in this case, this is the form we're going to use for where are you from. So really we're saying of where you are, or from where you are. So you can see how it makes sense literally. So I'll pronounce each of the words individually, leaving space for you to repeat them to yourself, and then I'll say the whole phrase and leave space for you to repeat the whole phrase. Here we go. De dónde eres. De dónde eres. Now, of course, you'll want to know how to answer this question, and that is going to be soy de, and I'm going to say Tennessee. Soy de Tennessee. Now, in this case, I am is soy, de is of or from, and then the place that I'm from. Now, this is what you would call an irregular verb. Again, we'll go into this more in depth in a later lesson, but I just wanted to mention that eres, you are, became soy, I am. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'll repeat each word, give you space to repeat it to yourself. Of course, you can fill in a different place that you are from. And then I'll say the whole phrase, and you can repeat that to yourself as well. Here we go. Soy de Tennessee. Soy de Tennessee. Finally, how do you say goodbye in Spanish? There are many ways. The most common is adios. You might notice that I'm saying it a little bit more like adios, like it's a TH rather than a hard D. It depends on where the Spanish is spoken. That's the way I learned it, so that's the way I speak it. And this phrase literally means two gods, so it's wishing someone well when you say goodbye to them. I'll say it one more time, and you can repeat it after me. Adios. So to review what we learned today, first we learned how to ask someone where they are from. I'll repeat each word again, giving you space to repeat it to yourself, and then the whole phrase. De dónde eres. De dónde eres. Then we learned how to answer that question. Soy de Tennessee. Soy de Tennessee. Finally, we learned how to say goodbye. Adios. All right, thank you so much for joining me in this lesson, and I'll see you in the next one.